Okay, we're going to be creating the title block for our parts 2 through 6 of the mini train. And so first one I'm going to do is the stack, and your stack is going to end up looking like this stack right here. And so I'm just going to show you how to make the section cut view for an isometric, and I'm also going to show you how to dimension the isometric drawing once you're done. And then we'll move on to others after that. So in order to get the stack placed on your page, we're actually going to place some items off of the paper, and then we're going to move the view on here as soon as we have it. So I'm going to hit my base just like we normally do, and I'm going to search in my in my object here, and I'm going to choose the stack. And I'm going to use scale 1.4 as the size, and I'm also going to choose top as my orientation, and I'm going to choose no hidden lines, so I'm going to hidden line remove, and I'm also going to not turn shading on. So if you just don't click this, then it's fine. If shading is on, then go ahead and turn it off. We don't want shading on. And I'm going to place it off the page right here. Okay, and I'm going to right click and go to done. And now that I have my top view off the page here, I'm going to make a sectional view of it. And so once you hit sectional view, click this view, and then your mouse will turn into a crosshair. And I'm also going to just kind of hover my mouse around these objects so that they highlight. And now I can lock on to the center point of this object. So I'm going to start outside the object and above it. I'm going to click and move my mouse down until I've locked onto the center of the circle here. So make sure you get a green dot that locks on. I'm going to click again, then I'm going to move my mouse outside to the right. Make sure it's perfectly straight and horizontal line, and you'll get a little horizontal indicator on your mouse, a little line below the crosshair to indicate that it's horizontal. Click one more time, right click, and continue. And so now here's my sectional view of the stack. And I'm just going to place it right next to my other view. Okay, now what we're going to do is rotate this and then make an projected view of it as well. So in order to rotate this view, I'm going to just put my mouse inside this little red dotted box. You can see like a red dotted box show up. Just make sure that shows up, and you're going to right click. Don't right click on the actual object itself, just right click near the object as it has this red box around it. And once I've right clicked it, I'm going to go to rotate, which is right here, and I'm going to flip it by the edge. Horizontally is fine, and I'm just going to choose the bottom edge right here, and that's just going to flip it so it's right side up. Click OK. And the last thing we're going to do is make a projected view, and we can do this in two ways. I can either hit projected over here, or the way I prefer is go ahead and hover your mouse so you get that red dotted box showing up again. Right click and go to projected view. And so now as you move your mouse around, you get all these different views. So we can get isometric bottom right, isometric bottom left, isometric top right, top left. Top right is the one that we want. Okay, we want it to look like this. So I'm going to click, right click, create, and now we've got our stack, and we can move this wherever we want it. Okay, so I'm going to move this onto my page, and I'm going to leave this stuff off to the side. You can't delete these items, because if you delete them, then this view over here will go away also, and so you're just going to leave them off to the side. They won't print out, they won't save on the page, but you do need them to stay put over here on the left in order to continue. Alright, now we're going to put these dimensions on them, and you dimension this just like you do normally, but sometimes a little differently. So I'm just going to go through this just to make sure everyone's on the same page. I'm going to put all the height dimensions on the right and all the radius dimensions on the left, or diameters, whatever. Go to annotate, hit your dimension, and I'm just going to dimension all these circles first of all. So first of all, if I'm going to dimension this circle right here, I don't want to lock on green, so don't ever have a green dot show up, otherwise this thing doesn't usually work. So click somewhere else besides where it's green, and then I got my radius is 0.56. And another little handy thing is that every time you create a dimension, this dimension box shows up, which is nice because then you can put additional information in, but usually you don't have to. So what I'm going to do is just uncheck edit dimension when created, and that way this box isn't going to show up every time I make a dimension. So click OK. And I'm going to do the inner circle as well. Make sure it's not a green dot, so just click somewhere else where it's not green. And I'm going to do this inner circle right here. Okay. Now I also want a dimension from the top of the stack to this line right here to make sure that that dimension was done correctly. And so what I'm going to do is just click this line, not when it's green, but click the line just red, and click this line, not green as well. And then I'm going to bring my dimension line out this direction. Now notice this one says 0.375, this one says 0.38. That's because this is on a 2 decimal system and this is on 3, and so it's rounding it up to 0.38. So in order to make this 0.375, I've got to get out of my dimensioning tool. So I can either hit escape on my keyboard, or I can right click and go to done, and then right click the number. So the number is going to highlight red when I put my mouse over it. Right click it, go to precision, and you can make multiple decimal places. What we want is a 3 decimal place, so it's 0.375. Alright, so now we've done all the stuff on the top and the left. Now I'm going to do the right or the height stuff. So I'm going to go to dimension again, and I'm going to dimension from the very top to the very bottom. So I'm going to click this top line right here. Try not to hit green. It will work when it's green usually, but sometimes it doesn't, and so I just like to hit the line itself. So I got my 1.75. I'm also going to go up to this point right here to the bottom, 1.5, and this line right here for 0.25. And there you have it. So now we have this thing that has been dimensioned and it's ready to go. Same principle applies doing the hitch peg as well. If you look over here, we've got our hitch peg, which has been cut into a section view. Once you cut this into a section and rotated it, and I'll show you that really quick just so you can see. Hit my base. I'm going to choose the hitch peg. Right here. It's a little bit smaller. I'm going to make it 4. Nope, that's too big. 3. That's good. And I want to place it top view. No hidden lines. I'm going to place it up here just so you can see it. Click. I'm going to go to my sectional view. I'm going to choose this as my sectional drawing, and I'm going to draw through this object. Right click and go to continue. I'm going to bring this screw out to the right, and then I'm going to right click it and I'm going to go to rotate, and I'm going to rotate it by the edge. You don't really have to change anything over here, just make sure that it goes straight up and down just like that. Click OK over here, and then I'm going to right click it again and go to projected view. I'm going to bring it up to the top right, not over here. We want to see the opening right here. So I'm going to click, right click, and go to create. Now that I have this view over here, I can move it over into this place. I'm going to go ahead and move this view out of the way so you can see it. Move this one into its place. Okay, so the ones we want to do on here are the radius of this arc right here. So I'm going to go to my annotate, dimension, click this arc, and see how it's radius 0.208. That's because this one is on a 2 decimal system, so I'm going to right click and go to done. Right click the number, go to precision, make it 3 decimal places, and I'm going to continue dimensioning. So I also want to dimension this circle, 0.2, that's correct. I want to dimension this line right here, 0.65 is correct. This line right here, and the radius of this bottom part. Now if I click green at all, it's not going to give us the radius or the diameter, so make sure that green dots don't show up. Click here. This one is also 2 decimal places, so we need to right click and go to done, and go to precision and 3 decimal places. Okay? Now for the wheel we do a section cut, and we're going to lay the wheel so that it's facing us directly for the front view, or whatever view it is that you can see the wheel dead on. Now you also want to cut through the middle of this hole right here. So when you place your wheel, first of all, make sure that you place it at the right size. Right now it's at scale of 3. Let's see what 1 looks like. 1 looks like what I used, so that's good. And you're going to place the wheel just like this. No hidden lines though. And when you do your section view, you want to make sure that you cut starting at the side, at the top, lock onto the center, make sure you intersect this hole right here, and go all the way through horizontally. And go to create, or continue, sorry. There's my section view. I'm going to do a projected view of this, and I want to make sure it's going in the right direction. This time, we're not going top right, we're going top left. So you want to go in this direction so that you can see the object well. Once you've placed that projected view, then you can move it to wherever it needs to go. So all of these things can be off screen. You just want to bring the projected view on so that you can do all the dimensioning to it. Now, you are going to be putting center points onto the middles of the circles. Make sure that you do your dimensions first. So if I want to dimension from the center here to the edge here, do that dimension first, and then go to your center point to make a center point. Sometimes when you put a center point first on these isometric views, the dimensioning doesn't work when you try and lock onto the center point. So go ahead and dimension first and then add the center points after. Now all of these are pretty self-explanatory. You can dimension these exactly the same way you do on a top, front, or side view. For the degree ones, you go ahead and click one line and then click the next line, but make sure you don't lock onto green. Make sure it's line to line. And then just bring your mouse out and it'll give you 30 degrees. Same thing with these lines. 30 degrees. And line them up. You want these to look exactly the same as mine. So just copy it exactly how you see it here, and you'll be fine. Do the exact same dimensions. Just follow the leader lines down and you'll see what everything has been dimensioned to, and then you'll be fine. The last one I want to show you is the cow catcher. So because when we make the cow catcher, it's going to have to be cut in a specific way. Okay, here's the cow catcher. I am going to do it from the back so that I can see it on the back. And I'm also going to increase the scale to 2, I think. I think that the scale is 2, but you can experiment with it and see how big it is. This looks like pretty close to what I think I had. Maybe it was 1.8. Okay, I'm going to place the view without any hidden lines. And I'm going to do my section view. Click this as my section or my object I'm going to do. Now I'm going to come in from the left side, come through this hole completely until you lock onto this one here. Horizontal line locking onto the center of this line. Click, and then go through the center of this hole as well. Click again, right click, continue. I'm going to put this on this side. I'm going to right click, or sorry, not right click, I'm going to go to my right click on the object here and go to projected view. And I'm going to come out here to the top right like we did before, not top left. I want to see these pegs in the back, just like we see them in the Word document where you originally made this piece. Click, right click, and go to Create. And now we have our section view ready to dimension, just like we do for everything else. So this is the one where it's a little bit tricky because you're going through it in a different way than the other ones. Okay, and everything's ready to dimension. So when we go to annotate, dimension, we're going to dimension the height. Actually, let's see. It is from here to here. Yeah, there we go. 1 inch. We want to dimension the thickness of this, although I think I do it up here. So basically just copy where mine are. Try to avoid green dots when you lock on for dimensioning.